take number 3 on this Ohio State versus TCU post-game reaction. So if I don't seem as energetic, it's because I've already done this twice, and the first time I had to stop midway, had to go watch the USC Texas game actually. Second time is because the file accidentally got deleted. Don't ask me how that happened, just did. I also apologize for the lighting, it's looking a little bit bright here. Not quite what I want. That looks a little bit better. So let's go ahead and hop into it. I'm an Ohio State fan, so it's going to be a little bit biased, unlike all my other ones, which are normally unbiased. But since I'm an Ohio State fan, I'm going to be rooting for my team, obviously. So I actually was preparing for an LSU Auburn video, but I'll have to do the Ohio State TCU one now. In the previous ones, I just kind of went through the entire game, then give the stats. I'm going to do both real quickly, trying to keep this one a little quicker. Haskins, 24 for 38, 344, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He also added a rushing touchdown on top of that. Did not score an offensive touchdown in the first half. Ohio State didn't, but came out in the second half. The big 63-yard pass to Paris Campbell. Nice, kind of fade route to KJ Hill down in the corner of the end zone. I think it was about 25 yards. And then obviously had the rushing touchdown to put Ohio State at 40 points. Rushing, Dobbins, 18 for 121 yards. Mike Weber, 18 for 64 yards. Both had pretty solid days. Weber's day, obviously nothing spectacular, but Dobbins was explosive in his home state. Receiving, KJ Hill, I mentioned, he was by far our best receiver of the day. 6 catches, 95 yards in the score. Austin Mack, 4 for 84, including that big catch on the first drive, but he dropped like 700 passes. So I can't really say he was our best receiver because he made a lot of mistakes. And then Paris Campbell, 2 catches, 66 yards, including the big 62, 63-yard kind of taking the screen and rushing to the end zone. And then the defense for Ohio State, this is really what won us the game. The strip sack by Bosa that was recovered in the end zone for a touchdown, and the pick 6 by our defensive end, Draymond Jones. Heck of a player, really stepped up after Bosa's injury. Once Bosa got hurt, I was honestly like, I think we may lose this game. I didn't lose confidence. Sorry, there's a fly. I didn't lose confidence in Ohio State, but I was also like, we've lost our best defensive player. We don't have Urban Meyer, and it's a little bit concerning. I was a little bit concerned, but Draymond Jones stepped up on the defensive line, made a couple great plays. I know he had a sack, and of course had this pick 6 on a shovel pass, which TCU's play calling really got, I don't know. They had 2 straight drives. On 3rd and 10, they did an option that just did not work, and then they punted. And then on the next drive, I believe, was the shovel option, where why would you run a shovel option on 2nd and 10? I understand, that's one of those creative plays that can work for big gains, but questionable play call, and Jones blew it up, got the pick 6, and that's how Ohio State, they were 2 for 3 on field goals. The one Nuremberger did miss just a little bit to the left. For TCU, Robinson, 24 40, 308, a touchdown, 2 interceptions. He looked really good. I know the 2 picks, but one of them was coming when it was kind of desperation time at the end of the game with a couple minutes left. The other one was obviously the shovel pass, which, is his fault, but also the offensive line has to do a better job because he's told to just flick it to the running back or the tight end, whoever it was. And the offensive line's supposed to at least hold those blocks until then. I don't know how old he is. I think he's maybe sophomore, junior is what I'd put him around. I don't think he's a senior. But he played pretty well. If you're TCU, this guy's a really good quarterback, and I think he can lead you to possibly a Big 12 championship, maybe the playoffs. I'll get more into that in a second. Rushing, Anderson, 12 carries, 154 yards, 2 touchdowns, including the big 93-yard touchdown run in the first half. That was the longest run in TCU history and the longest play Ohio State's allowed. Or maybe it's just the longest rush. I think it was the longest play, though, that Ohio State's allowed in their school history, which is insane to think how long they've been doing this. But that's the longest play they've allowed. Receiving, Rager, 7 catches, 98 yards, and I don't know what this last guy's name is. Starts with an H. He's the guy who had the big catch in the second half to make it 33-28. Downfield where our safety just overran it. 2 catches, 57 yards in the score. But I can't read my own handwriting. I apologize for that. The big difference in this game to me was the turnovers. Ohio State had 3. They forced 3. TCU did not force any. Haskins played a pretty clean game. Our running backs didn't fumble. No one fumbled or anything like that. and that was huge. Haskins, man, is he exciting to watch? He's just so smart. He makes such accurate throws. I really think this guy is going to be a great quarterback for years to come, whether that's at the collegiate level or at the NFL. Big plays. TCU almost had that huge kick return where they showed us on TV, and I was like, there's no way that's going to work. You know, we've seen this before. Kansas has done it before. I remember where the guy was in the blue uniform lying down in the end zone. But I guess Ohio State just didn't recognize it. We all ran towards the one guy. Luckily, we got to that one guy so fast that we kind of pressured him almost as if he was a quarterback, and he couldn't throw it backwards. He threw it forwards. Flag was thrown, and flag was thrown. Came all the way back, and we pinned him back inside their 5, and then that actually, I want to say, that was the drive that led to the muffed punt, which then put us up by 2 scores. So that was actually huge. That would have given them the lead as a huge difference maker in this game. I mentioned Nick Bosa got hurt earlier. He pointed to his groin area, and I believe they said it was like a lower abdomen strain or something. I just hope he's back for the Penn State game. I think all Ohio State fans are with me saying I think we can beat, is it Tulane or Tulsa we play next week? I always get those confused. I think we can beat whoever it is next week without Bosa. Fine, but Penn State, we need Nick Bosa. We need the best defensive end in the country if we want to beat Penn State, in my opinion. Now, what does this mean for both teams? For Ohio State, playoff hopes, right where we want them to be. Big Ten hopes, right where we want them to be. Obviously, this game really didn't impact the Big Ten hopes, but you want to have the best record possible. Ohio State is definitely, hopefully, won't overlook Tulsa, Tulane. Sorry, I don't know who it is. It's one of them. I think it's Tulane. So I'm going to go with Tulane. Anyway, hopefully don't overlook them and look ahead towards Penn State. But that game's going to be big. And in the comment section down below, if you're an Ohio State fan, tell me, do you think we can beat Penn State? Of course, I think we can. But how confident are you? I'm about 80% confident we're going to win that game. I'm not 100. They have a good team, but they lost Barkley. I think Haskins can beat their defense. Appalachian State beat their defense, for God's sake. So, yeah, I think I'm about 80% confident we're going to win that game, and I have to be confident. You have to be confident as a fan. You can't go in saying we're going to lose this game because then it's no fun, If you lose, you're like, well, that's what I said. And if you win, it's like, oh, hey, we actually won. No, you got to go in thinking you're going to win. That's what makes college football so great, is because if you don't go in expecting to win every time and you come out with a loss, not that your whole season's necessarily done, but your playoff hopes take a huge hit. Now for TCU, speaking of that loss, you're not out of the playoffs. You lost to a top 5 team. You can still win the Big 12, and you can still make the playoffs, but you're going to have to beat teams like Oklahoma, who's looking pretty good right now, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, who beat Boise State pretty bad earlier today. Texas even looked pretty good against USC. I know they lost to Maryland, but your playoff hopes are not done, though. So don't get depressed if you're a TCU fan watching this. You have a good head coach. I think you have a good quarterback who can lead you to the Big Ten championship, maybe the playoffs. We'll see. I think he definitely has to develop a little bit more, but he had a good game. And if you're an Ohio State fan like me, I'm excited. 3-0 to start off the season. We get Urban Meyer back next week. And I'm really excited. I think Haskins is probably the best throwing quarterback we've had, most accurate since Troy Smith. Pryor had a cannon for an arm, but his accuracy was a little wobbly. Miller, I think, was a little more explosive with his legs. Barrett was not the best passer. I love JT Barrett, but he was not the best passer. And then Cardale Jones had a cannon, but again, a little bit inaccurate. This guy, it seems like almost every throw he makes is right on the money, and I'm excited for that. If you're a TCU fan, leave in the comment section down below. Are you guys going to win the Big 12? Do you think you're going to win the Big 12? And if so, if you win out and win the Big 12, will it be enough to make the playoffs? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you're an Ohio State fan, what percentage of confidence do you have that we're going to beat Penn State? I mentioned mine was 80, but I think we're going to win. I have to think we're going to win, and I truly believe we are the better team. We have to play like it. So that'll be the post-game, reaction, analysis, whatever you want to call it. Again, third time recording this, so if I wasn't as energetic as maybe I am in other videos, that's the reason why. But I still wanted to get it out to you guys.